Hello, fellow travelers. I'm Veronica from Human Design Journey, and today we're gonna look at the transits. It's the 10th of May. Okay, here we go. 2022, and yesterday the sun entered the 23rd gate. Actually, we have been experiencing this energy for quite a while since the notes have been here for several weeks already. But yesterday, also the sun entered in the gate of splitting apart, the gate of assimilation, which actually connects to the 43rd gate, its opposition, making the channel of genius to freak the design of the individuality. So it's quite an interesting energy because this gate actually connects the individual when to the collective and to the acceptance of the different, the acceptance of diversity, the acceptance of individuality, and eventually the acceptance of mutation and change. Splitting apart, the gate of assimilation. And it says above the lines, amorality, the awareness and understanding which leads to the acceptance of diversity. This is really one of the gates which connects the individual process, the individual breakthroughs to the collective if the individual insights and breakthroughs have been communicated successfully, have been explained and structured in a way that it can be understood from the collective, in its language, in the right timing, when invited, so that eventually the individual understanding, the individual knowing can come across to our people we communicate with, to our listeners, or to our with people who we have dialogues at work or just on the street or even at home, because the 23rd gate is also connected directly to the 43rd, and no matter whether we have or not defined in our chart today, there is this possibility and pressure to express individual knowing, but also to be deaf to what the other has to say, not being able to understand, not want to listen. And actually communication, on one hand, about 70%, I think it was, is nonverbal. It is the way we look at somebody, that our tone of voice, our body language, even our pheromones and smells and sounds. Everything gives is a part of the communication, what we perceive as information and process it as information, even without being aware of it, just on primal level, on intuitive level. And then there are those 30%, which are the words we use. But oh boy, words can be so powerful. And finding the right words, the right language, the right expression, in the right timing, with the right people who are inviting you or pulling out of you your insights, your thoughts, being open to listen to and to hear what you have to say, only then, see, it's such a small percentage, only then you're able to actually break through to those people and reach them and maybe mutate them and empower them. And also a big part of communication is listening. Listening. Being there for really present. And when we listen, we can hear so much. Sometimes the answers come just in the silence of nothingness. We don't have to think. We can just be. Let go and listen. Communication is both listening and finding common language, common ground, where we can freely express our own individual, super bizarre sometimes, unique awareness, because all of us have such different cognition. In the same event, with the same people, one person will notice some things, another person will notice totally different things, like they have been to different places with different people. And it is only because one person is more attuned to smelling or touching, being connecting to the environment with such senses, and the other person will be about feeling, inner feeling, or vision, outer vision, how things look, or smell. Oh, that's the woodpecker. So yeah, all of us have such individual awareness and such individual experiences of our realities, and to find common grounds can be quite challenging. And exactly since yesterday and in the next few days, we will be able to experience the energy of assimilation, of finding these splitting apart, and actually via assimilation and fusion, limiting the diversity, being able to get empowered in the communication, in how to communicate those differences and those different insights. So, because being so unique and being so diverse and freakish and strange, because all of us are in certain ways, it splits you apart from the rest of the people, from the collective. So you have to find a way to express yourself in a way that the collective will actually understand you And thus you're limiting a little bit your diversity in order to get to a synthesis and fusion, assimilation via, actually, if we follow all the steps of the 23rd gate this week, it starts with proselytization. Then we go to self-defense in the second line, individuality in the third line, fragmentation in the fourth, assimilation, and fusion in the sixth line. Where it takes time for you to get attuned to the diversity via synthesis and being able to express your individual knowing in a common language. Find your way, structure it, be clear to the collective. And when you're in the right timing, and you wait to create that momentum to build, only then you're really able to break through. So let's look at the specific lines. It's a second line day today. And so we have the sun in self-defense, the need to abandon tolerance when survival is threatened. And here we're talking actually to abandon the tolerance when individual expression is threatened. The principle of preservation is that. And in the detriment we have where Jupiter will strike out to preserve its integrity. The moon is often satisfied with just protecting itself by fending off hostility, the defense of individual expression in the face of hostility. Then we have this energy grounded in the 43rd gate, the breakthrough, second line dedication, the maintenance of specialized attitudes which promote breakthrough, unique mental habits, and throughout processes which promote insight, a dedication to action that when actualization is in sight may become incautious, and the urge of for expression that will abandon its normal processes when an opportunity arises. And this doubled with, we already had last week, the fourth line fragmentation, and we spoke about it, fatalism and egoism and atheism and paranoia. We have here diversification without a perceived potential for synthesis. So here we have individual expression, which might not have a collective value. It can be one track mind, 43rd gate, and we have here the resonance to that. So it is very narrow, the fourth line, and the individual expression can engender isolation and fear and fatigue. So this will be quite strong also in just not caring about the consequences, not caring about what the other might think, what the other might know, but being our having our perspective on being quite narrow in our knowing and in our potential for synthesis. So whether you have a defined throat or not, this is going to be for everybody, this energy. In the perspective and in the talking around us, in the people around us will be expressing this energy. Being on one side quite selective, and on the other side quite narrow, so selective and narrow. We have here the breakthrough the gate of inside the one-track mind, the over-reliance and stubborn obsession with one's mental abilities in the face of recurring obstacles, just sticking to what you believe, what you think. The design given mental gifts may, though rarely succeed. The design given mercurial mental gifts may, though rarely succeed. A stubborn reliance on one's unique insights that demands focused mental ability to be properly conceptualized. So, as I said, our perspective will be quite narrow, and at the same time, the focus of the mind will be on deliverance, the gate of aloneness. So, especially if you have the opposite gate, the 37th gate, you will feel like you might want to prove to the other. So we have here organization, the fourth line, the power of to transform, and the intuitive intellect to select and organize for the purpose of maintaining deliverance. The power of the ego when organized and active to maintain separateness. An uncontrollable zeal that ignores the quality of support in preference for the quantity, which in the long run may destabilize deliverance. The empowering of the ego through the capacity to organize others. Waiting for its opportunity and being our driving force to think about organizing the other with our breakthroughs and our expression, our inner knowing, and maybe being too pushy, giving promises which we might not be able to fulfill, especially as I said, if we have the 37th gate on the other side or the 51st gate in an open ego center. Then we have what we want to communicate is wisdom, contemplation which results in the ability to apply understanding. The same as above, but motivated by the self-satisfying mental challenge rather than altruism. The ability to transform individual awareness for general application to the mental challenge. And communicate all of those thoughts in the now, wanting to bring contemplation and direction in the now, communicating and thinking about contemplating the results in the ability to apply our understanding, inner knowing, and individual melancholic sides, which we find in the energy dynamics, Venus values and relating our moral values are in the gate of opinion. So we also under the pressure to, under the possibility, actually the potential the possibility to express um, the body sattva, the perfected following one with and the same as perfected leading. Here, in the gate of opinions, we have on one side the great nurturer. The nature of this position is always positive, the possibility in understanding the nature of interdependency to express opinions of value to others. Or on the other side, the tendency on the perfected path, it is a straight line that ends rather than a circle. Where understanding is achieved, the possibility of having the opinion that there is nothing else to learn. And the next step will be, hold on a second, because it's the sixth line of the 17th gate, I want to check what is the next gate. Line. So the 21st, biting through. And being able to bite through and get what is being deserved as a piece of the pie. So this is what the moral values will be hanging in the air, will be. Which is interesting, thinking that there is a possibility to express opinions at the same time as opinions which will lead to actually getting the right piece of the pie through individual breakthroughs and coming up with your own opinions, not wanting to listen to people, but wanting to say things right now without waiting without pressuring and being in a hurry to say things, not knowing where to engage our energy and for how long, not knowing when enough is enough, when to stop, when to be afraid, and what to abandon as a behavior which is unhealthy. And at the same time, not knowing what to think and what is really interesting and inspiring, not knowing who you are, and being so open to outside influence and outside energy, because look, all the energy is open actually. We have only expression, potential and expression, two potentials and expression, and again expression of maybe unmet needs, of crisis, the darkening of the light. In the third line, transition, it is already also there for some time. The point at which decline has exhausted its power, the ability to establish a new order out of the ashes of the old, the emotional depth to endure crisis and embrace change, and tendency in renewal to try to assimilate the remains of the old order into the new, with the risk that it may rise again. Basically, in Neptune, which is the what is behind the veil, what is an illusion, and something we don't see. So, especially if we have the 30, the fifth gate progress, or the 12th gate stand still, or the 41st, the decrease, we might be quite emotional. Uh, then we have 30th gate, the fates, clinging fire, the gate of feelings in Saturn. So this is a heavy energy which restricts, and it puts you under discipline and limitation when you don't follow the values. In the 17th gate, the mm, bodhisattva, perfected following, one with and the same as perfected leading. So to be a good leader, you have to be also a good follower. The great nurture, the nature of disposition is always positive, the possibility in understanding the nature of interdependency, to express opinions of value to others. Those are the moral values which are punished. And also we have the laws in the second line. We'll look in a second. If we don't follow, we get punished and limited, with the ability to maintain composure, but at the expense of progress, balanced through feelings, but unable to let go of them. And that's in the detriment. And the maximization of limitation in all cases, stability through feelings, no matter what the situation, balance in the face of disorder. So all the balance will go to hell if we don't express our opinions the way they are, without hiding, um, perfect following, one and the same with the perfected leading. So basically, walk your talk, and then the fates should be on your side. And also, the law is in the gate of innocence, the gate of the spirit of the self, the existentialist. You're only able to be innocent when you're authentic, when you're yourself. Otherwise, you're never innocent, because the mind always has an agenda. So the innocence itself is only in the spirit of the self, in the spirit of being you, without a distortion. So it's in the second line, the existentialist, devotion and dedication to the now, the perfection of the intellect through concentration and focus on what is rather than what could be or has been. The innocence of the self and its protection can only be maintained in the now. A dedication that can never be free of personal motivation and its attendant projections. A lack of innocence in the now that risks protection through projection. Second line attracts projection, attracts somebody, people around it. They see its gifts, they see the possibility there, and the second line attracts interaction, attracts there is this word, distraction, attracts distraction. from the other, because the second line, it's doing its own thing, you know, it's being itself, it's being natural and just being, and somebody passes and it comes and it distracts the second line by talking to it about it. How did you do that? You know, you were doing something perfectly well, and the moment they asked you how you're doing it, and suddenly you're not doing it anymore. You lost it. You're not in the flow anymore. And you're like, come on, you interrupted me. I'm not in the flow anymore. Well, it's something like this: devotion and dedication to the now. The perfection of the intellect through concentration focus on what is, rather than what could be or has been. And um, a dedication that can never be free of personal motivation. The moment that you have personal motivation, you're not so innocent anymore. So then you are restricted and your balance goes in the face of disorder. That's how you can get punished. And we have quite some second lines actually. We have Uranus also in the second line, second gate, the receptive, the gate, the direction of the self. Here we have the unusualness, the chaos, and the innovation in the air will be about the unconscious and unlearnable alignment of stimulus and response, the natural. The inner strength to focus and realize, a natural gift for unlearnable knowing. Genius is madness. So knowledge exclusively as power to the enhancement of the ego, the delusion that knowledge is power. So we're talking about, again, madness, genius to freak, and we have here in the unusualness also genius is madness. If you are not in the right moment, guys, and you don't wait to get invited to speak your truth, it just will not work. It will not work. You need to be called out, recognized, and selective about the calls you get. Also, it's not every invitation that comes is the right one. No, 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 no. It's a second line day. It's quite selective. It's not everything is correct, and the only thing which can tell you what is correct, which is being attracted to you by your magnetic monopole, is your strategy and authority. You pull to yourself the entire universe, and then when it comes to you and knocks on your door, you use your authority to answer. That's the only true way in which you can be authentic and in which we are really protected. And the truth in Pluto, the transformation in psychology, still in the gate of limitation, the gate of acceptance. In third line, conservatism, enlightened self-interest that naturally handles restrictions and limitations, ensuring identity and security. The energy to maintain identity and security despite limitations. Ego gratifying self-interest that ignores limitations and suffers predictably. Energy which ignores limitations and pays the price. So for quite some time, we're dealing with limitations. And if we don't take them in consideration, we also should be ready to take the consequences. Limitations are not here to punish us, although they could, and even depress us deeply, because there is no movement, there is no change, only limitations, crisis. And limitations are actually here to, like a gardener who prunes the too many branches where the energy is scattered and limited to one to several places in where the life will grow from the new plant, um, so that the energy concentrates there and it is successful. If you have too many small buds, not all of them are going to be successful. The mutation is not going to be successful. But if you concentrate on few or even on one thing at a time, chances grow. Chances are bigger. So I didn't say much about the Martian energy, which is in the 22nd gate, grace, the gate of openness in the third line, perfected grace in detriment, unconscious grace, and innate openness. So all of this garnished with the expressive Mars energy, growing in place where we have the possibility to grow today, in unconsciously and very gracefully being quite open about how we know everything, but we don't want to hear anybody else's story, only listen to our own inner ear, the inner ear here in the 43rd gate, expressing assimilation of the matters and shining there actually. So it's a very mindful day, if I can call it this way, very mental day with lots of opinions, inner knowings and thoughts which can very easily become deeds without the proper support of actual energy. Just, gunslinging with your throat, talking, making promises, looking for identity and direction, under the influence of a lot of emotion, crisis, being open or completely closed to the other, wanting to be left alone in our innocence, surrounded by limitations and left to the fates, totally not knowing what to fear, what is healthy for us, just gunslinging, talking in the now, wanting to just express and be and really make deeds come true and words come true without proper backup, power to actualize what you're saying and what you're realizing, what you're understanding, and not knowing what is actually worth thinking of, what is actually inspiring, and what will stay also tomorrow. Open to all kinds of inspiration. But is it the right inspiration? Or is it just wasting your time in unnecessary thoughts? Strategy and authority, my friends. This is the way to go, and you can experiment whether it works for you or not. I'm glad to have shared with you the daily transit, which is actually the planets, they move and they change. We have a little bit slower moving planets, and there we have influence which stays for a long time. And then we have faster moving planets. The Sun Earth changes every 5.5 days. But it's very interesting how they coincide today. So it is quite a melancholic energy, lots of talking, lots of doing without being able to sustain that doing, and being practically on fire. Let's see how this plays out. And stay centered in your authentic self. See your movie for what it is, not somebody else's movie. But hey, it's so nice to know the transits because you can see what the whole movie for everybody else will be. So you will know to bring an umbrella. Have a great day, my fellow travelers. I'm Veronica from Human Design Journey. See you soon.